Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to Guided Abroad. In this season finale, I reflect on the journey we've traveled together and share the gifts and wounds the Saharan and Italian ancestors have revealed.
Tell me about your greatest wound. And it's money. Okay, boy.
This season closes with me on a threshold. Possessions gone, ancestors closer than ever, inner voice guiding the way, and everything is about to change. Let's dive in. In the last episode, you've heard that I have booked my one-way ticket to Italy, to a new life abroad. Still an undefined life, but isn't that how it often is for people in transition? Even if you think you know what's going to happen when you take that leap forward into whatever's next for you, even if you think you know, it never turns out quite exactly how you expect. When I remember that, not knowing everything doesn't feel quite so scary. In this first season of Guided Abroad, we've covered a lot of ground. The vision I had when I was first called to do this podcast, was a behind the scenes, an intimate, unfiltered view of what it looks like to be guided by inner wisdom and insight. To let go of some control, even when it's hard, and let your intuition guide you. So many people continue to seek outside teachers, fixers, or solutions, plans that others have for them, rather than following where their heart really wants them to go. I love working with people on making that change, making that leap. But not every client wants their story as deeply exposed as I've done here. So it's been great to show you my own process. Another way that it's been a living lab has been in the fact that this is the first time I've ever done a podcast. You see a progression from the first couple episodes to where we are today, or at least I hope you do. I hope you see a progression and some skill development. But most importantly, I want you to be stepping away, as I am, feeling wiser and stronger about what it feels like and could look like to live a life that's in conversation with the divine. In knowing how to trust yourself more deeply, that's where true security and safety comes from. Something really important happened in this journey. Remember, we were called, I was called, and you came with me, that's why I say we, to Morocco. And then we had done all this deep work in the invisible world, so that when we landed in Morocco, a lot of the healing that needed to happen in our ancestral lines had already been worked on. And because we did that early work, we were able to move faster and have a greater impact. And that applies to any part of life, whether it's your work, your home life, raising your children. There's opportunity to be working in the energetic and spiritual realms in order to make the earthly realm more successful, more easeful, and to have greater impact and bigger outcomes for you, your business, and your family. We were able to shift on a dime by having flexibility and curiosity to allow the new intuitive signals to take the lead. And this took me to Italy, where I faced a crossroads of who am I going to be? And I asked that question to you too. Who are you going to be? Are you going to be your true self? Live your heart's desires? Or are you going to be what others want of you? So we faced some hard inward reflection. And ultimately, learned to trust others to a deeper level than ever before. And some of that trusting wasn't just other people, it was also other information sources like ancestors, the land, energy. One thing I like to do when new ancestors come on board or new spirit guides come on board is to get to understand their strengths and weaknesses. So I'd like to bring you in on a conversation about that. If you happen to have Saharan or Italian ancestry, these messages apply to you as well. So listen closely. In the following clips, I'm in conversation with 2 new ancestor groups that came on board during this season. You'll hear me ask them questions, then speak their words aloud or describe the information that they provide.
I'd like to invite a representative from the Sahara ancestors, the desert ancestors, to step in front of me. And then to the right of him, a representative of the Italian ancestors that are new to our team. Welcome. Let's start now with the desert ancestors. What is the greatest gift that you bring for me, that you carry for me, that I now have access to? Salesmanship. We have cultivated relationships, trade routes, and a lifestyle that was based on caring little and doing much for others. Being able to express the value that we have to share and interest others into what we are offering is something that was a requirement for our survival. Also, our close relationships. In such a harsh environment, one did not go it alone. And if one did venture out on their own, they relied on those left behind and those ahead on the trail to share and to provide and to look out for them. Close connection to the land and the animals, even the insects in the water, made that possible. What are the greatest wounds that you carry that I should be aware of and are reflected in me and in my life? Desolation. Desolation. Let me do a Google search real fast. Meaning, the state of complete emptiness or destruction. Yes, and along with desolation, you will call for isolation, aloneness. For we are not a solitary creature. Humans are meant to be in community, and part of the nature of our experience was often isolation for long periods as we travel from one place to another, followed by bursts of community that could feel overwhelming after that isolation, and then watching our camps be desolated behind us, removed as if we had never set foot on the earth, as the sands blew them out of existence. We know better than anyone how quickly life can be extinguished and how deep despair can be.
Wow. The desert ancestors bring this strength of salesmanship, and then they describe their wound as desolation, aloneness. And this is a wound that resonates for me. I am quick to cut ties, to move on. I can be difficult to get to know, even though people often feel like they know me, they don't really know me. And I appreciate that they brought this forward in particular as a wound that they feel is relevant to my life.
Is there any prescription you would give me to balance this wound or heal this wound, to hold it gently? This wounding that we carry and thus you carry can bring a deep ache, but it also provides the contrast that makes joy feel exuberant and uplifting. So while it has a dark side, it also provides benefits in its existence. We would ask that you be cognizant of the amount of time you spend in isolation and loneliness. While you believe it does not impact you, we fear that this is because it's been so long since you've had a different experience that you don't remember what you're missing. So we invite you to take this opportunity with this move to start anew, to reach out and aggressively seek connections. This is a new beginning, and much can be healed.
In this answer about their recommendations for me, they touch on something really important that we've heard throughout this season, which is contrast. So 2 sides of the same coin, dark and light, having that contrast is such a valuable way to sharpen our eyes and our understanding. The other thing they touch on is the opportunity to start anew. There's something that your heart has been calling you to. Tomorrow can be the day you begin, or even today. It can be your choice to take aligned action now. Even if it's just shifting how you spend a few minutes a day.
Is there anything else that you would like to share before stepping back from center stage? We are so excited that you now have access to us. We have been here all along, but there had been a barrier that only now has become permeable so that you may see and feel and access our wisdom. We are grateful for the actions that you took to make this possible. It could have been many lifetimes before this connection was restored.
Our ancestors are waiting in the wings for us. They are all around us, even if we can't feel them right now. So it's our opportunity to take actions that can lessen the barriers between us. On the other side of the veil, they have access to so much more information than we have available. Not just what they've experienced in their lifetimes, but things that they can see now that they can see a broader scope. And this is information that we can take in and apply in our lives if we can only make the connection.
Moving on to Italian ancestors, please will the speaker take center stage. What is your greatest gift that you bring that will benefit me in this journey? Community, nurturing of community, heartwarming connection, lack of reservation in relationships. I see food like bread blossoming in the pan up over the tops of the edges and somebody cooking, and there's all these warm smells. The personal space is really low and everything's warmth and welcoming. Critical sometimes, but always from a place of really wanting and full-heartedness for you to be your full potential. Well, that seems really beautiful. This warm, nurturing, challenging energy that's seeking connection. That should help offset the desolation. Why don't you tell me about your greatest wound? And it's money. Okay, boy. How do you have a wound in money after... Oh, it's because of the church. I was going to say after all the wealth that the church has, but that's the thing. The church has the wealth. The people don't have the wealth. So there's like this feudalist society that's problematic and has forced people to lean into their rustic ambitions because they didn't know how to navigate any other way. Do you have any advice or recommendations about how I might leverage these strengths or what I might learn from these weaknesses, what the lesson is in them for me? This is the time for you to learn that wealth isn't just money, that there's wealth in relationships, in community, in plants that grow food, in cultivation of land. We recognize that these are concepts that you are already familiar with and you would perhaps claim you understand and know deeply or hold close to you, but there is a whole different level available that you don't yet know.
This whole new level that can become available to me in regards to understanding the plethora of ways that we experience wealth and abundance in our lives gets me so excited for what's next. I hope you heard something in these ancestors that got you excited too, or got you excited and curious about what your ancestors bring to you. I've decided this is a natural place to wrap up season 1 of Guided Abroad. We heard the call, we followed the call, we came back home and started to ingest and make some decisions about what's next. And now it's time to take a pause while I settle in to my new life. Thank you for traveling this journey with me, from Morocco to Italy and back home again. Each step has been about listening, trusting, and discovering what's possible when spirit leads the way. We'll be sharing bonus content on YouTube between seasons, like deeper dives with guest practitioners and insights from my ongoing work with clients and spirit. Season 2 will take shape with your input. I'd love to hear what resonated most and what you'd like to see more of. You'll find a short survey linked in the show notes and description. It only takes a minute and will really help guide what we create for season 2. This has been Guided Abroad with me, Sarah Cook. Until next time, keep going within to lead beyond.